Hello everybody and welcome to Elden Ring. This is going to be part 1 of my revised and improved walkthrough after having completed the game several times. At least 5, I think 4 of the playthroughs are on the channel already. And deciding that some of the quest orders and some of the other parts of my previous complete walkthrough of this game could be improved. I've decided, in fact it was always going to be the plan to make an improved version of the walkthrough anyway. I'm going to try not to rush through things too much, but I am going to try to keep the episodes fairly short, so if that means that some areas end up with extra episodes, so be it, but I really wanted to make this kind of bite-sized as much as possible. In any case, let's get into this and start with the new game option here so that we can get ourselves a look at the characters. If I press Y here to show the attributes, you guys can see all of the different attributes that all of the different characters have. I would highly suggest that the Vagabond in general is the best starting class overall, especially if you don't know what you want to do yet. This is because it has the least wasted stats depending on what it is you want to do. And what I mean when I say that is that in general, unless you're doing a magic type build, the character with the least combination of intelligence, faith, and arcane is going to be best for you. And the Vagabond is the one that fits that bill. The best thing about this is if you decide to be a mage later on, you can always put points into the intelligence, for example, right? Let's say you're going to do blue spells. You can put your points into intelligence and some points into might and you'll be absolutely fine. And that strength and dexterity that you'll have as an advantage right at the beginning will still probably not be wasted because those are the stats for the Moon Veil, which is one of the strongest swords that the mage can use anyway. And so this mage would probably end up putting those points into strength and dexterity just to do that. So my recommendation is, if this is your kind of first time entering into the game, Vagabond is the best all-rounder, especially as you can respec. So with this character, as long as you can make copies of your save, you can test lots of different builds out, lots of different weapons, and be pretty happy with it. After that, just talking about the rest of the characters here, and maybe a few of my own restrictions, I'm actually going to place some restrictions on myself just to make this a little bit interesting, and should be a little bit different, at least in terms of the style of play, to the other playthroughs that I've got on the channel already. I am going to force myself to not invest any points into strength and dexterity as we go through the game. This means that I probably won't be able to showcase too many weapons, but we are going to be very, very spell focused. But looking at the rest of this here then, so we have kind of two different extremes of the equivalent that you have with the Vagabond. Vagabond obviously has balanced strength and dexterity, whilst the warrior has 10 strength, 16 dexterity. This is very dexterity heavy. And then you kind of have the opposite end of the scale here with strength heavy. You'll probably end up investing points into those anyway. That's kind of the funny part of this, because a lot of the weapons require a combination of stats. Then we have intelligence and faith, so we effectively have not spells, sorceries and incantations split into 2 different classes here. We then have kind of a different speciality to the usual dex build over there, and then onward to kind of like a hybrid style for both the intelligence and the faith builds. Sorry, lost some momentum there. I apologise for my stutter. In any case, here we go with the Astrologer. It doesn't really matter, I've already made my character. You don't have to worry too much about creating the character that you want to look like in this game, because you are able to change how you look, including gender and everything else, for those that care about all of that, later on in your playthrough. Anyway, I'm just going to put a name in. It's always this on the walkthrough. My little god of war is going to show us how we take the tears of our enemies and make them cry a lot. In any case, once you're done, I'm just going to go through the keepsakes here. I am going to choose not to take one, so that you are free to pick whichever one that you want out of these. If I was going to make a recommendation, either the Stone Sword Key, the Cracked Parts, or the Fanged Imp Ashes are probably the best. The Golden Seed isn't the end of the world. Like, they're all okay, they all do something useful. So the Stone Sword Key is going to unlock fogged doors, which will allow you to access some locked away loot. There are more than enough of these in the game though, so not essential. The Cracked Parts, you'll get 3 of these. These are reusable thrown items, and are integral to a lot of the crafting in Elden Ring. However, the 3 that you get given here get pulled out of the world. So a little bit like the Stone Sword Key here, you'll get all of these in the world anyway. You'll have the same amount even if you pick these right now. So if this was extra and permanent, this would actually be the strongest pick, if I'm honest. But with the way things are, that is just not how that works. Fanged Imps, again, you can get these pretty early. In fact, I don't think you even have to fight a boss to get to where these are, because these are in kind of like the second zone, but you can skip around things. So if you're really desperate for fanged imps, you can actually go around and get those real early. Golden seeds. This is a little bit like the stone sword key. So these increase the amount of times that you can use your flasks. So if you have a maximum of 14 flasks, they'll split between red and blue. They recover either your FP, which you use for casting, or your health. As a restriction on myself, I'm always going to be carrying more blue than red, just to make sure that I'm acting as a caster as much as possible. But again, there are more seeds than you can use in this game. So again, it's okay, kind of out of the gate. But I have a video on the channel already about how many seeds you can get without even facing a boss real early, and you can get up to like 12 flasks out of the gate. So this is just completely unnecessary. So I'm going to pick none. You guys can pick whichever one you feel like is going to give you more of a benefit right at the beginning of the game. Okay then, so after having viewed the opening cutscene, here we are. Now, a few things to look at, depending on your class. Let's immediately come into here and take a look at what we have available. Here is where you can decide to move around and use different pieces of gear. If we press, where is it? Should be able to get up. Want to show me? Here we are. The stats of the weapons. And over at the end there on the right hand side, you can see which load I'm on. I am going to attempt to stay in light load for as much of the game as I possibly can. This could be difficult, but that is my intention. So, probably in a few episodes time, I'll probably go through my idea for all the restrictions I'm going to place on myself, just to kind of have some fun with this as we go through. But I'm going to try and stay in the light load. We're not going to invest in any strength and dex, and we're going to use as many spells as we can, which should be pretty fun. I'm going to try to have my spells in the left hand. There's a reason for this. That's because if you use your left trigger, that's going to use your Ash of War, or what would equivalently be your weapon art. Right now for this weapon it's a kick. Yeah, that's right, it's a kick. And this one doesn't have one. So you are wasting a weapon slot by having a catalyst in the right hand, unless you are using not a catalyst, I'm talking Dark Souls right now, a staff in the right hand, unless you are using two staffs. It's worth knowing that if you have two staffs that have, like, let's say, abilities that buff different types of spells, they will accumulate. So you can dual wield staffs. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I quite like having a sidearm, just in case we happen to run out of FP. I'm going to try not to, but we'll see how things go. Sorry, I've got some real hiccups going here. I don't know why I'm looking around. I know there's nothing here. We just kind of want to go straight across the bridge, where we are basically destined to lose the fight. If you are good and you really want to practice at this, and you want to bang your head against a wall, you can keep on recreating a character until you get so good you can beat this. But there's really no need. We get to come back here later on anyway to take its loot. It does drop a pretty good sword, but it's not one that this character can even use, so this is just the game teaching you how the game is supposed to work, basically, in my opinion. So we are supposed to lose to a boss. Right, we're supposed to lose to a boss. Hello. Let the cutscene play, we're going to get through this, come on. And now we have awoken in the main of the game. Now, I am going to run the tutorial area with you guys. So we are just going to run straight on down here. Probably should try to get the ledge. This just gives me an opportunity to go through some stuff with you guys in terms of controls and stuff. The game will teach you anyway, but I can add my own spin onto it as we go through, and sort out the flasks so that I am sticking to my rule here. There must always be more blue than red. It's very dangerous. It's already looking real bad, so I'm going to get one heal per run so far until we get another seed. This means we're going to have to be mega evasive and use spells a lot. But people actually wanted me to see this. So in the other playthroughs, so I had like one where it was like a spell blade. I did my strength build. Now people really want to see me like kind of maximize on the mage stuff. So let's deliver on that anyway. It really wants to show you all the different stuff here. So if you two-hand a weapon, in fact, you know what, let's go ahead and show this on something here. So it's showing us we can jump. If you hold your triangle button and then press your attack buttons at the top of the controller. I assume most people are using a controller. You can two-hand the weapon for extra damage and a bit of a different moveset, which is cool. It's going to be largely irrelevant to a mage, though. Someone's shooting at me. Where are you, sir? And solve that issue. Oh, I don't know if we'll reach there, actually. Oh, we will. Haha. This could be interesting. So you down. Yeah, we don't care about that. That's fine. So there's lots of things it's going to want to teach you in here. Things like guard counters and that kind of thing. This character really is not going to be up for any of that. Especially with how little armor I'm using right now. Like a couple of hits are probably going to kill me, which is why we'll be using some very specific types of items as we go through the game. Yeah, we know about skills. We already spoke about that. Now it's going to teach us about backstabbing and sneaking. This is actually really cool and something I feel like I don't utilize enough. A bit of stealth really is useful. I haven't tested the bushes enough. There's been like 1 or 2 dungeons where I've used this to my advantage. But we can sneak through the bushes and stay out of the line of sight of enemies, which is kind of cool. Something that I feel like almost nobody utilizes enough in these games. They've added a lot, like From Software have added a lot to the way that you can play Elden Ring, and a lot of the veteran players seem to just not bother with it. Stance breaking, I don't know if is it actually going to show us that? Oh, I can't move. Stance breaking. Oh, it does. Haha. So they call it stance breaking. I always end up calling it a stun. So if you break something's stance or posture or whatever you want to call it, you can be in a vulnerable state. Which is why, when we pick up the weapon that I want to use, we're going to be using that weapon. We're going to use a rapier, which has a higher crit damage, which is literally going to take advantage of that very mechanic there for us. So we're not going to have very good melee damage, but it should mean that if we do knock an enemy into that state, we'll be able to do good damage to them still. We're just walking all over everything right now. It's real fine. I'm sure there are going to be loads of people saying out there going, well, you're playing as a mage, this makes the game easier. I couldn't disagree more. Take a look at the strength build. And it's not really like necessarily a walkthrough, but if you go through the how-to items, the strength build slaps this game into nothingness. So I disagree with anybody that says any build has a significant advantage over the other. This game, in my opinion, encourages you to have as many different types of tools for situations as you could be carrying. It just happens to be more programmable into the mage because of the spells, but there's no reason you can't do that as any other build. So, if you picked the Stone Sword key, it may be tempting to open this right now, and you can open it, but it is going to be a pain in the ass, and I recommend coming back here later, which is exactly what we're going to do. There are some good things in there, such as the first Erd Tree's Favor, which is an okay boost to stamina, stamina, health, and equip load. So it's basically 3 levels, especially for people that are going to go heavy into those particular stats, which is quite handy. Some other stuff down there. There's a golden seed from a boss, but that boss is a pain in the bum. So we're going to go down there later on. We definitely want to have a strong summon first anyway. So here we are at Limgrave. So if we read what the game is telling us, right? So the game says you lose to a boss, you do a dungeon or 2, and then you go off exploring. So in my opinion then, this game is now going to direct us to go north. It takes you to a boss that's going to be real tough, which is Morgott. And not Morgott, Margot. And then from there, you should just go exploring. So we're just going to skip that. We're actually going to do the exploring. But the first thing you want to do is probably you're going to want to speak to Var. I'll do that real quickly now. I might as well just skip ahead of the actual dialogue. So you guys can listen through his dialogue as much as you want to. But once he starts repeating himself, then we can leave. That's everything done with that we need to. From down here then, we can immediately interact with the multiplayer, although we don't actually have the items for that yet. We'll talk about that once we do. But you want to collect this. This is the golden effigy. Cool thing is you can collect that from actually any of these that you'll find out in the wilderness. So there's not technically any rush, but you just might as well have it right now. But basically this allows us to start putting our signs out so that people can summon us for co-op, which is real cool. Right out of the gate. It's real early. And the next target then is the church at the top of the hill. You can go right or left. We're just going to completely bypass Mr. Big Tree Knight here. I feel like there's another lesson in If an enemy is seemingly looking like it's out of your league, it probably is. That doesn't mean you can't beat it right now, but you definitely, in my opinion anyway, should just bypass it. We just broke a glowing skull there. Wherever you see them, you want to give them a break because they will drop the golden rune there. At this point in the game, it's pretty useful. Later on in the game, it's probably all but useless, but 200 extra runes when we don't really have many is better than nothing. Next up then, we are going to talk to Kale. It's going to be right here for us. Pick this up. It's actually going to be an upgrade stone, but you need 2 before you can actually upgrade a weapon, so not really all that useful to us right now. You can also get your basic upgrades here, but there's no real need. I think you can get your weapons like +3 on it, but we're gonna meet a blacksmith soon enough anyway. We'll go ahead and take this grace. Now, this will mean that if we die, we will resurrect at this grace. It's always either the last grace that you tagged or rested at that you will respawn from if you do happen to die. We'll go ahead and talk to Kale. We do want to get some stuff from him. In particular, the crafting kit, should I say, is essential. You do want this as much as you can. The bow and arrow is going to be mega useful. We don't have a bow yet, so that's not essential right now. We've got holy water parts. This is going to be pretty good if you need to down some undead. And we've got some cured meat as well, so some pretty good stuff in here, as well as obviously more of the cracked parts that we were just talking about a minute ago. So if you started with those, you could have 6 already, but you probably wouldn't have enough stuff to craft enough parts anyway. So this is the multiplayer item that you can craft, but we should already be able to craft that just by having the crafting kit now. So if we come into here, item crafting, you can see all it needs is 2 earthly flowers. So if you want to start doing co-op, let's say you got some friends that you guys want to play through together, you can get up to 3 people in at the same time, but you will get invaded by other players. All you need is, let me just see if we can find one. There should be some around here. It's just a golden looking flower. Excuse me, golden looking flower. We'll find one on the way up here anyway. Let's just move on along the path. That way we're not slowing down too much. Just going to move on north. Soon I'll be able to show you something else. Haha, here we go. Erdleaf flower. You just need 2 of those. And they respawn every time that you rest at a grace. So you could literally have that one there twice, and then bam, friend is in the game with you. Done. Maybe I'll go over that in a bit. And there's 2 right there, look, bam. Cool. So you can literally have it ready by the time you get to the next grace. Now then, at this grace, we will get Elleh coming up here to us, which is real cool. We should have another one of the golden leaves around here, I think, as well. It's real difficult for me to ignore loot, so I will pick stuff up. Now, I feel like it's worth noting that I'm probably going to miss a few like consumable type items or upgrade stones or this kind of thing. But rest assured, anything that's like unique in the game, we'll grab. We'll talk about. We'll get all the trophies and that kind of thing. That's all going to be here. And that is basically it. I'm going to end here. You guys should rest here right now, but because I want the next episode to be called How to Level Up. It's part 2 of the walkthrough. We'll finish here. That's good for me. I want to try and stick to 20 minutes, and we're about there anyway. So hopefully you guys will join me for that.